what is up you guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. With the upcoming release of MapleStory Classic Worlds, which is basically Old School MapleStory, I wanted to make a prediction video, but also a sort of wish list video. I wanted to share my thoughts and my feedback on what they might want to add into this new server for it to be successful. And this video might also serve for like some reference for people that are not too familiar with Old School MapleStory and want to get more information about that. And this also is like general feedback for the developers. So let's get into it. Well, I've been playing MapleStory ever since like 2007 when it got released in Europe. That was when I started playing it. And throughout the years, I've played various other versions of Old School MapleStory. Let's just keep it at that. And I mainly played back in the day during the pre-Big Bang era. So really the old school version of MapleStory is what I'm familiar with. Besides that, I also played other MMOs, and that's why I think I'm pretty well equipped to share my thoughts and make some predictions, but also give some feedback on what this server really needs to be successful. In my opinion, there are 5 elements that could make or break this new Old School MapleStory server. 5 key ingredients, if you will, to success. And I wanted to talk about those 5 main ingredients, and at the end of the video there are some nice to haves or quality of life things that would be nice but are not necessary. So let's get into the first one. Let's address the elephant in the room, and that's basically the HP problem or the HP washing problem. If you're not familiar why HP or the hit points of your character are an issue in Old School MapleStory, let me explain it real quick. Almost every class in Old School MapleStory has a HP problem, meaning when you reach the end game, and that is the end game in MapleStory is where you are able to start doing boss runs, you won't have enough HP to survive the boss encounters, at least not at the level they were meant to be fought. And this is a big issue because it locks you out of this content for a very long time, and because you have to over level tremendously to gain enough HP to survive these boss encounters. And a solution for this back in the day was HP washing, which I won't explain in this video. It's basically a loophole in a game design mechanic which was never meant to work this way, but through a very painful and long process, which makes you miss out on like half of the game when leveling up, it'll allow you to have a lot more HP to fight the bosses on the level which they were meant to be fought at. And this is what we want to avoid in Old School MapleStory in this new official re-release of Old School MapleStory. So there are a couple solutions to this, and yeah, I'm gonna run through those real quick. So the first solution could just be to change the way you gain HP when you level up. So changing the HP gain formula, and that would allow your character to gain more HP. So instead of, for example, 10 HP, you would get 40 HP when you level up. Or if they don't want to do that, they could maybe change the amount of HP you get when you do a job advancement. That could be one solution. Of course, they need to keep into account that some classes need to be more tanky in general, so they don't have to remove that part of the game entirely by giving everyone the same amount of HP. Another option could be once you hit a certain level, you unlock a quest chain that at the end gives you a permanent HP buff. So for example, it's a quest line that takes you a very long time, a couple of days, but at the end you gain permanently 1000 HP extra, something like that. Or they could go do it one other way, and that's the daily quest route. So for example, you have to do a short quest that takes you like half an hour or 20 minutes, and you could do this only once a day, and this gives you 30 HP with a maximum of like 2000 or 3000 HP, maybe also depending on what class you are. And that would completely solve the HP problem, and you would be able to do all the content that was meant for you at the right level, which was a huge pain back in the day. So this could be a very good solution to the HP problem, or one of these solutions that I just mentioned. The second problem I wanted to discuss is the AP reset and SP reset item. So the AP reset means ability point reset, and the SP reset means skill point reset. And I think these items definitely need to be in the game. because there are a few reasons why I think that's a good thing. But if you know what HP washing is, what we just discussed, you know AP resets play a big part in that. But I would like to see the ability to use AP resets to gain HP removed, but still keep the other effects of an AP reset. So meaning, for example, if you misclick when leveling up, let's say you're a warrior and you unintentionally gained some points in luck, which you don't really need as a warrior, and you want to swap those points that you put into luck over to strength, which is your main attribute, you would need an AP reset. And those definitely need to be in the game, because misclicking once and then ruining your character is a big problem. Same with skill point resets, so SP resets. Let's say they do some class balancing, which I hope they will do. That's a sneak peek for the next point. And you want to change up your build. For example, you're a spearman and you want to, instead of using spears and you spect all your skill points into using spears, want to try out a build using pole arms. You need to be able to switch those builds up, and you need those reset cards for that. And I hope they keep those in the game, and they can maybe put in, even like they did back in the day, put them behind the paywall. But I would much rather see those in-game as an option for you to buy with in-game currency, but that's not really the deal breaker here. SP resets and AP resets need to be in the game without the ability to use AP resets for HP washing, just to give builds more variety, to help people out that messed up their build by misclicking a skill point or attribute, ability point. And yeah, I think that will give a lot more people ease of mind when creating a character and wanting to try out some new skills or different builds or different weapons. Thirdly, let's talk about class rebalance and class balance in general. If you played Old School MapleStory, you know a couple of classes were way too powerful and some other classes were very underwhelming to play, very weak basically if you compare it to the other strong classes. And I think it's healthy for the game to have a more balanced class system, meaning you don't have to make tremendous changes to see improvement in class balance, but you could just tweak some skills to make those have a longer cooldown, shorter cooldown, be more effective, be less effective, just to even the playing field a bit for all classes. And I think that way we will see more class variety, which is more fun in general. And that's basically it. I think that is one of the most important points, and I think it's very easy to mess up if they don't do anything at all. And I think it's also very easy to mess up if they go overboard with it and make weak classes way too strong. So there's definitely a fine-tuning element in this thing of class balance, but other games can figure it out, so MapleStory can figure it out as well, I think. Let's talk about one of the most difficult things to get right in this new Old School MapleStory server, and that's the experience gained. And this is a very controversial topic because people have a lot of different opinions about this, because some people liked how MapleStory felt back in the day, where you had to grind for hours and hours to gain one level, and other people just quit at level 60, 50 pre-Big Bang. That was for most people the cutoff point, maybe even 30, and that's just because the game was too hard, and not mechanically or not technically, but it was too hard because you gained not enough progress for the amount of time you put in. This could be solved by giving people more experience. So for example, back in the day, if you would kill a snail, you would get 10 experience. I'm just making that number up right now. And in certain old school versions that I've played back in the day, different versions from the official one, they increased the amount of experience. So for example, that same snail gives 30 experience, so that would mean you have 3 times the amount of experience, which made leveling up a whole lot more fun and easy. And in my opinion, I think 2 times experience would be the sweet spot. Maybe even start people off with 1.5 times experience, and then gradually, once you hit, for example, 3rd job, you would slowly increase the amount of experience gained from a mob. So for example, if you hit level 100, the experience gained is at 3 times the normal amount. But I'm just rambling a bit about this now, but these are my opinions, and I think a lot of people have different opinions about how they should approach the amount of experience you've gained in Old School MapleStory, because for some people they want to have the true authentic experience and just have a brutal grind to gain a few levels, and other people like it a bit more easy. And seeing how most of the people that are playing on this server or are going to play on the server are between the ages of 25 and 35, I think approaching it with the mindset of making it a bit easier for people, because most of us are old now, we have jobs, we have families, we don't have as much time as we did back in the day. I think it's the better approach to make leveling up a bit easier. Where the sweet spot lies in this, I don't have the answer for it. If I had to make a guess, I would say somewhere between 2 times and 3 times experience. But that's just my opinion. I'm pretty curious to hear what you guys think about the experience gained and how they should approach this. So let me definitely know in the comments down below. And let's move on to the final big thing that I would like to see in Old School MapleStory. Last but not least of the big 5, there is future-proofing the game. And what I mean with future-proofing the game is making original content for Old School MapleStory, basically. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the old updates. They added new areas, they added new bosses, etc. At some point they even added pirates pre-Big Bang, which is really cool. But at some point they're gonna run out of old school updates, and in my opinion that's around the time just before Big Bang got patched. I hope they don't do this in this new Old School server. At some point they're gonna run out of content for us to play and explore, and Old School RuneScape is a perfect example of this. At some point RuneScape ran out of updates and they started making original content in that old school style, and Old School RuneScape became its own game, separate from RuneScape 3. And I hope they do something similar with this MapleStory Classic Worlds. I think they have a great opportunity to, at some point, start developing original content, new areas, new bosses, stuff like that, to keep us interested and have us explore those new areas and fight those new creatures. I don't think moving gradually towards Big Bang and then having a Big Bang patch and introducing 5th job and 6th job and all that kind of stuff, I don't think that's the right approach to it. I think they need to figure out, and this could be via a poll or via player base survey, they have to figure out a point where Old School MapleStory no longer became old school and became new school, or whatever you want to call it. And I think it's around the Big Bang patch, maybe a little bit before that. I think that would be the big thing that would keep this game relevant, if they started producing original content like new areas, new bosses, new items, that kind of stuff. Now let's talk about some nice to haves, some quality of life changes that still would make an impact on the success of the server, but in my opinion not as much as the 5 things we just discussed. First things first, let's talk about an auction house. I'm a bit 50-50 on this. On one hand, I think an auction house would be great because it will speed up selling items, buying items, which is nice, gives you more time to do other things instead of standing in the free market. Also, in different servers that I've played that didn't have an auction house, people would just use Discord as a sort of auction house or forums. But on the other hand, not having a auction house is also a bit more old school. You have to find items, which is kind of cool by yourself. Maybe you buy something you didn't think you would buy. For both of the options, no auction house and a auction house, I think you can make good arguments. And for this one, I'm not really that outspoken, I have to say. Maybe other people are, but this one can go either way for me. Secondly, let's talk about changing channels and the capacity of channels. This is relatively more important, and I think most people can agree. We need channels where more than 100 people can fit in. If this is not the case, the worlds will feel dead, especially later down the line when people reach higher levels. Newer players will have less people to party up with and level up with. And also on the topic of channels, we have to be able to change channel quickly. This is important. Like in MapleStory Worlds, changing channels is a hassle. It kicks you out of the party you're in, which is terrible for party questing. And yeah, I hope they fix the channel issue, but I think because it's gonna run on the like official MapleStory client, I think changing channels and channel capacity won't be a problem, but this is something they really have to take into account. I hope they just start off at one world so that everyone plays on the same world, so you don't have to debate with your friends in which world you're gonna play, because if you're playing a different world, you're not able to play with each other. So I hope they fix that issue by being able to transfer your character really easily from one world to another, which probably won't happen, or just having one giant server where everyone plays old school. That would be great. Let's also talk about party quests. A very easily decided one for me. I hope they make party quests instance based, so meaning you just find a group of people, talk to the NPC, and you're good to go. So you don't have to find a free channel, you don't have to track people, you don't have to sit around waiting for a free channel to open up. Maybe they could even balance this out a bit and giving every channel maybe 5 or 10 slots for parties to do a party quest in, so you don't have to change channels as much and just be able to do party quests once you find the people. Because just standing around in a city, I know it's what we did back in the day, but I don't have time for that nowadays. I just want to play the game and gain experience and progress, not stand still. If I want to do that, I can just go to a city and hang out with people there, but not when I want to do party quests. I know this is my opinion. Maybe some people think differently about this, but that's just my humble opinion. And lastly, let's talk about leeching. I'm not sure how I feel about this. Leeching is basically where a higher level player goes into a party with a lower level player, and that higher level player clears the map with mobs very fast with their higher level skills to give that lower level player fast experience and level him or her up. Basically boosting is another word for it, but I think MapleStory uses the word leeching. And I think on one hand it's very nice to have that option. If you played the game a lot, if you have a high level character, amassed a lot of wealth, and you just want to have an alt and also have that character being able to do bosses without doing as much as the effort yourself. And on the other hand, I think it's pretty cool if it's not included, because everyone who has reached a certain level has done that by themselves, which is interesting. Like I mentioned, I'm not sure what I prefer. I think I would prefer leeching over not having it in the game. Maybe that's a bit controversial. I know I talked to a lot of people that don't want it included. Maybe this is a great point of discussion in the comments section down below. So let me know what you think about leeching. That wraps up this video, guys. I'm really happy that you watched till the end, and I think this is a perfect video to have a discussion in the comments section. I'm really curious to hear what things I missed, what things you disagreed with, and what you would like to see in this new MapleStory Classic Worlds. Let's just start the conversation, and I think at some point I will even send this video, once it has gained some comments and some views, I will send it to Nexon, and hopefully they'll watch it. Maybe the chances that they watch it is not that big, but maybe they will watch it and take away something from it. I hope they will. I made this video hoping to create a very good version of Old School MapleStory that we can all enjoy, and just my contribution to that, I guess. And that's about it. I have not much more to say about Old School MapleStory for now, unless the game is released, so stay tuned for a series once that game comes out. In the meantime, I'll be maybe playing some different games to, see what else I can do with my YouTube channel besides MapleStory. For now, that's it. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye bye.